Today on Network Africa, nearly 11,000 migrants rescued at sea by the Italian Coast Guard in the last 48 hours. Student protests turned more violent in South Africa. And to the ones whose job it is to patiently impact knowledge, we celebrate World Teachers' Day. Hello everyone, I am Amarachi Ubani. Today's program begins off the coast of Libya, where nearly 11,000 migrants have been rescued by sea by the Italian Coast Guards in the last 2 days. Just yesterday, the government said it had picked up more than 4,000 people off the coast of Libya. But with the success stories come the fatalities. The Guard says more than 20 people were reported to have suffocated in the hull of one of the overloaded fishing boats, bringing the total death toll from Monday to 50. Italian officials said 3 women saved on Monday gave birth over the past 24 hours on a Coast Guard vessel that was bringing some 1,000 refugees to Sicily. The women and their 3 children were all reported to be in good health. The Coast Guard said the migrants on Tuesday were rescued from 33 boats, including 27 rubber dinghies and 1 wooden boat that was believed to have been carrying around 1,000 people. The Coast Guard says new rescue operations are underway today, but far fewer than on the previous 2 days. We're yet to see the dissipation of the students' protests in South Africa over proposed hike in tuition fees by 8%. A statement from the University of Cape Town says students have been throwing petrol bombs and started fires around campus. One security guard was reportedly injured, and riot police had to come in using stun grenades to quell the unrest. Students reportedly began throwing stones at them and stormed buildings, breaking doors and windows. Witnesses say it is total chaos down at the campus, and police are trying to get things under control. Meanwhile, things are not any better in Ethiopia, where protests have been going on since Sunday. Demonstrations were reported outside of the capital, Addis Ababa. People carrying placards with inscriptions against the government. Access roads were blocked and 1 truck was reportedly set on fire. Transportation was almost ground to a halt as hundreds of people resorted to walking to their various destinations because there were fewer cars and buses. Plainclothes policemen were out on the streets trying to calm things down. However, shops are closed for fear of being looted, and people courageous enough are sitting outside of their homes watching events go by. What began as a regional problem is taking on a more national appeal against the government. One of the main points of this protest has to do with the general elections conducted last year. The ruling EPRDF has been in power since 1991, and it's won every parliamentary seat in the election. Opposition groups criticize the elections as a sham. The government, however, believes the protests are being instigated by what it calls terrorists and evil forces. Earlier today, Ethiopians woke up to no internet service that was said to have been shut down by the government with no reason given. It's not the first time this has happened. Back in August, the government did the same thing when the protests heated up. Opposition groups are angry at the security forces, killing more than 50 people in the Oromia region on Sunday. They're even more angry the government refuses to take responsibility for the deaths. Later in the afternoon, it was reported fax line internet services are back up in the country, but phone services are still down. 5th of October, it is today, a special day in the United Nations and around the world. And for teachers, also, it is World Teachers' Day, celebrating the great step made for teachers on October 5th, 1966, when a special intergovernmental conference convened by UNESCO in Paris adopted the UNESCO ILO recommendation concerning the status of teachers in cooperation with the ILO. This recommendation sets forth the rights and responsibilities of teachers, as well as international standards for their initial preparation and further education. of course, their recruitment, employment, teaching and learning conditions. Since its adoption, the recommendation has been considered an important set of guidelines to promote teachers' status in the interest of quality education. 5th October also celebrates the adoption of the UNESCO General Conference in 1997 of the UNESCO recommendation concerning the status of higher education teaching personnel. Events are holding around the world marking the day. UNESCO has a ceremony planned out for the Hamdan Prize Awards and a seminar. But here in Nigeria, the teaching community is drawing attention to the challenge of teaching in the country. Apart from delayed salaries and poor remuneration, the teachers are also confronted with the challenge of having a good grasp of policy trust at the Universal Basic Education Program. But as the teachers savor the day, our education correspondent takes a look at the developments of education against a backdrop of October 1st anniversary.
The National Policy on Education was launched in 1977. The aim of the policy is to ensure national efficiency and national unity aimed at achieving social, cultural, economic, political, scientific and technological development of the country. In 1985, the objectives of the policy were broadened to include free primary education, among others. The structural pattern of education under the current policy is organized into a 6-3-3-4 system. The system consists of 6 years of primary education, 3 years of junior secondary school, 3 years of senior secondary school, and 4 years of tertiary education. At the inception of the Obasanjo-led administration in 1999, a universal basic education scheme was launched. The specific targets of the scheme are total eradication of illiteracy by the year 2010 and increase in adult literacy rates from 57% to 70% by 2003. This policy was reviewed and extended to 2015 under former President Goodluck Jonathan. But with the expiration of the policy in 2015, the Minister of Education advocated a new strategic plan that will reposition the sector.
While the world is producing knowledge professionals, as I tell you,